Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out a new feature for the Spring 24 release that's coming out. Currently this feature is in beta form. It is the repeater feature for Salesforce flows. It's a really cool feature when I was looking at it in the release notes, but I really wanted to get it in the sandbox and actually build it and test it for myself now that it's in our sandboxes. So if there's something you're interested in, make sure to stay tuned because we're going to be building a flow to actually test out the repeater functionality. But make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm putting out new Salesforce content all the time, and let's jump into Salesforce. So I'm starting off right now on the Salesforce's help page, taking a look at what exactly the repeater functionality is. And I actually used this other tab here. This was way more helpful in helping to figure out how to actually configure this in Salesforce in this flow that I pre-built right before filming this video. But yeah, what the repeater component is something you can add in the screen flows. So you can have a screen and you can add in this component and you're able to create multiple records in one screen. What you can do is you can set up like first name, last name, date of birth, and relationship, and then hit the add button and then be able to create another contact record. Maybe you want to do accounts or cases, things of that sort. You can just create multiple of those in one screen. You could also, let's say you added in 3 and you wanted to remove one of those, you could hit the remove button and it actually will take that away all inside one component within the screen. It is really cool functionality. Both of the links for this and this page are in the link of this video. And before I jump into the flow, I'm going to walk you through how exactly I built the flow and some of the things you got to look out for. And there are limitations with this component. So I'm excited about it, but I'm kind of a little frustrated too with some of the limitations I've found. But let's jump into what the flow actually looks like. So to start off with, you will need to create you a new screen flow, and you just add it, start your screen flow. And then I did a get records component here to get the account. My vision for this flow was you would have a button on a contact to create new, you'd have a button on an account to create new contacts for that account. That was kind of the work case I was going off of. So I just have a get element to get the account record ID of the record that launches the flow from the record ID variable. If you know, to pass a record ID via a button, you need to have this record ID variable created. It needs to be a text variable available for input. And then on this screen, this is where the actual repeater component is. This is what it looks like. To add it in, you can just start typing it. And it's in beta form right now, as you can see. I want to add it at the bottom of the page. And this is what it looks like when you first add it in. You just have an API name. So you can call it whatever you would like. And then from there, you actually add in inputs into this. So if I want to add a text input, you hover right here and it says you can add it into the repeater here. You just let go and then you can configure it. You can do the same thing for like a date. You drag and drop it in and it's within the repeater. One thing that is frustrating, phone fields, they are not compatible yet. So you can see it's trying to add it below or above that repeater functionality, and you can tell because you can see there's a light gray outline around this that's signifying that it's part of the same component. So turns out whenever I was like trying to build this, I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, what am I doing wrong? Whenever I was doing like building this out, I was like, okay, what are the limitations on this? So if you look here under considerations, the repeater component supports these child components. So you got checkbox, group, currency, date, date time, long text, multi-select, number, password, pick list, radio buttons, text, and display text. I tried to add a phone field in. I couldn't do it. And I tried to add email before I realized I needed to go check this out. So if you were trying to create contacts, that can be annoying because you're going to need an email address field to be added to these. So that's a pretty big limitation. Something to, in the future, I'm sure they're going to add way more functionality. I mean, this is in beta form, so hopefully they add, you know, more child components that are supported for this so that you can fully set up contacts or even accounts, honestly, because it would be really nice to have. And there's probably some ways working around this, maybe creating some sort of collection variable that's a certain type. I don't know, but it would be nice to have this functionality. I went ahead and removed my little creation there, but yeah, the way you configure this is just like any other text field. First name, I just call this first name, same thing, last name, and then birth date. So this is what the screen it looks like, and I just did a display text at the top. That way, you know, you can create new contacts and configured the bottom to only have a finish button. So this is what the screen looks like, and this is where it kind of gets a little tricky on what you actually need to do next. What you have to do is you have to loop through what's collected in the repeater and add it to variables to be able to do anything with it. So what I have is a loop, and you set it up, and I'll show you how I got this. You come in here to repeater under screen components and select all items. That's going to cycle through everything in the loop. Then it comes into the assignment variable here, and what it does is I've created a contact record variable, and what it does is it stores the values from the repeater, or this is a place where you're going to store the values from the repeater input that you did. So you can come in here and you can see contact record first name equals current item from loop first name. Contact record last name equals current item from loop. This collection variable is a data type of record in contact, so you're able to select what values you're assigning to it. Once you did that, I went ahead and did contact record account ID equals record ID because I'm linking the account ID to the contact so that they're linked together. You need to do that for all the fields you have on your screen in the repeater function. Then there's another collection variable I created called contact collection. It's a data type of record, object, contact, available for input, and I marked it as allow multiple value collection. What you do here is all the assignments that just got assigned, you're adding it into this contact collection variable. And it loops through all the choices that were made in the repeater, and then it breaks out of the loop, and it comes down, and you're going to create records, and it's going to be multiple records from that contact collection. Now let me show you how it works. I have to save it. I didn't make any changes, but it thinks I did. We're going to hit debug. I need to grab an account ID, so we're going to grab this one from Edge Communications, and we're going to put this in. So this is like where I launched the flow from, right? You're going to hit run. All right, we're going to call this Happy Dog, and we'll input a birth date in here or something. We'll add a second one. We'll call this Happy Lion, and we're going to put a date on this one as well. Make it a different date. Now I've added two. You could hit remove. I can show you that. You go in to add one. Oh, I need to remove that one. I didn't put anything on it, which is great. Then you can hit next. The flow will run, and you can see, I can see where it's created these records with the values I've assigned. To test this, in debug, it's still committing the new records to the database. You can refresh, and you will see the new contacts. Now it went from 4 to 6, and you can see Happy Lion, and you can see Happy Cat. So let's look at Happy Lion, and you can see that the birth date of 2001, March 5th, is there as well. So we have successfully used the repeater function to create 2 contact records associated with Edge Communications. This is a really cool tool. I think it's going to become more powerful in time as more components are supported by it, because right now it is a little limited. But just to cover it again to make sure you understand it. And this is great documentation on how to set this up too, but sometimes the videos are better. Whenever you have the repeater function, it only supports limited components. But whatever you put into the screen and you're inside that component, you need to map to like a contact collection variable, or a contact record variable, sorry. And it needs to be a record data type and the object you're trying to create or store, and have it marked available for input. And you need to have that loop through, then go through and loop through those records, and you select all items from the repeater function, and under the assignment is where that contact record collection is where you map. You can see, you can type contact record, has the arrow so you know you can map something, like map it to a specific field, type first name, boom. And you do that for each one. Don't forget to link it to like a account if you're doing it this way. And then you will need to add the contact record to the contact collection. And that's that record. This contact record is the same one that you're mapping before. And then you can create your contacts. Create multiple from that contact collection, because that is a multi-collection variable. I really hope you found this video informative. I know it can be a little confusing. I did the best I can to explain it, but maybe in the future I can create another video, especially once it's out of beta form. But if you found it informative, leave a comment, leave a like. Don't forget, the 2 links are in the description of the video for the Salesforce documentation, so make sure to check that out. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I will see you in the next one.